So my good people of America, look at this room. It's so weird being inside. I'm always outside to make videos. It's actually my brother's room. It used to be my room, but now it's my older brother's room. We all stay with a mom in a freaking tiny little apartment. Tiny little 2 bedroom apartment. I got my mom, me, my little brother, my oldest brother. I sleep in the dining room. Just kind of made myself a nice little spot in there. I'm only really home just to sleep or sit on my ass and be on the computer and stuff. Nah, but anyway, I'm just bored, so I figured my brother. I don't even know where he's at. He went somewhere, but can actually use the bedroom to talk about stuff. To actually make videos. I'm usually outside talking about some stuff. I actually like it better, to be honest. This is actually kind of awkward being inside. Like, look at the background. It's just like random drape on the freaking. It's actually a sheet. Whatever, dude. I like being outside. No, yeah. So I wanted to do what they call a trip report. It's not really a trip report. It's really kind of like my experience with drugs altogether. What I've learned off of drugs. I've done a lot of drugs. I can tell you the truth, but I don't want to sound like too bad. Like I've experimented with drugs. I was never like a addicted dude. I don't smoke cigarettes. I never, never anything like that. I was never addicted to anything. I don't have an addictive personality. Actually, I'm almost like I don't know. I just don't like the lack of self control. If I feel like I'm becoming like dependent on anything, I'll almost just like purposely stop. Like just cause like no, I don't like that. Um, the TV in there. Sounds like somebody crying. Anyway, my mom's over in the living room right now. So yeah, I've done a lot of drugs. I've done a lot of drugs. I probably did more drugs than a lot of people. I've experimented with a lot of drugs. Look, like I guess since I was like 16, like we used to party a lot, and I had these friends that I met when I was like 14, 15 around there. And we experimented a lot with drugs. I smoked like the first blunt when I was like 14, 8th grade, and from there up until like 20, I did a lot of stuff. Up until like 23, I was still smoking weed. I quit back then. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I don't do much anything like that. Every once in a while, I'll drink a little bit. Might smoke some, maybe. I don't really smoke at all anymore. I don't even like being high. Alcohol's alright. I actually like opiates. Opiates are nice. Well, I've done a lot of different drugs. Never shot anything up, but I've done a lot of different substances. I guess the important ones are psychedelics. um, yeah, so I guess what type of psychedelics have I tried? I tried mushrooms, tried LSD. Uh, we used to do this thing with what was it called? It was called we called them triple C's. It was DXM or something like that. Dimethyl, no, that's DMT. Dextromethorphan or something like that. DXM. And it's just like this weird stuff you get over the counter. You take a bunch of it and you're like hallucinating. We've tried like sleeping pills before. We took a whole bunch of sleeping pills and like stayed up and we're like, whoa, it's almost the same thing. So those are psychedelics. I tried salvia. That shit was weird. But yeah, I've tried LSD, tried mushrooms, and DXM. That's a pretty extreme thing. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm not, actually, I would say that that was more extreme than shrooms or LSD for me. But freaking DXM was way more extreme. There's another. We used to get triple C's where you just take a bunch of them and you stay up and you start like tripping. But there's another one called Delsum, and Delsum's like a time release version. And I remember one time, this is probably my hardest trip out of all the trips. Okay, I was with one of my friends. I was at his house, and we went and got some of that Delsum. But then he kind of bitched out, And yeah, I was only gonna drink like half a bottle. He's gonna drink the other half, but he bitched. I was like, no, I'm good, I guess. I was like, you punk. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna take the whole bottle. So I took the whole bottle down that thing, and slowly but surely, my like sense of reality just like delved into like this other like realm. I don't even know what you want to call it, but yeah, I remember we're sitting at his neighbor's house, and he was cool. He was a cool dude. We were sitting there, garage open, uh, concrete slab, like the foundation of the house, then like a driveway, and it was like nighttime at this point, but we had lights lighting everything up. I just remember looking out, and it was a kind of an old neighborhood, so we got all these trees like grown, like really big. I think I was hearing birds and stuff, and I was looking across the street, and there was the other neighbor across the street. He was cool too. We knew everyone on the street, like we partied on that street, and he was outside, like in the garage, like hanging out with his wife or something. And I remember I was just sitting there, I'm like looking, and like I got like this weird vibe where like in the Flintstones almost, cause like it was like we're on literally like a concrete rock foundation, and we're all in our little huts, and they're kind of lit up. Like if you watch the Flintstones, I think it's actually like you can see like a rock window with like lights coming out, something like that. But either way, I was like, it's like the Flintstones, bro, because it was all like solid rock foundation. Um, and then went down the driveway, the street, and then like these big old trees and the birds. Like I started thinking about birds. I'm like, dude, those are like little pterodactyls. You know what I mean? I got like this vibe. Like we're like prehistoric. Like we're like these ancient like caveman type people still on this planet. I was like, wow. Like, and I couldn't really shake it. It wasn't like it was like a perception. It was really almost just like it was like a lack of filter of like my neocortex. It was just like it wasn't like I was even recognizing the things I was seeing. It was more just like I was seeing it in a very raw form. I was like, dude, like, whoa. But so that was that trip. That was probably my hardest trip. And I ended up staying the whole night, just like tripping off that shit. I went and actually stayed at their house. I was like, bro, can I spend the night? He's like, yeah. And like they all tried to pass out after a while, and I was just like awake, just like in the dark ass room, just like, what the fuck? Like it was crazy. I remember actually another part of that that's relevant is while like everybody else was sleeping, you might say I was kind of like astral traveling. I was kind of like I was in a dark room and I was just like thinking and shit, but then I was like sensing everybody around me, like because they lived in a pretty crowded house with a bunch of people. And I remember his uncle slept in the living room, and he had to go work the next day. He just passes out like no problem. He don't even he'll sleep through anything. But then like his sister had to go to school the next day. There's just a whole bunch of people in the house. I remember I was just like I can almost just like sense their presence. I can still do it now, even when I'm not on any substance. I can literally just kind of like people in the other room. I can like sense them. You know what I mean? I can literally like almost like it's like echolocation almost, but it's you can do that. It's really simple. And I remember I was on that shit, and I was like, dude, like I couldn't even like not do that. I was like, fuck. I felt like I was like almost like psychically like linking. It was almost like astral travel. Like I was just like I couldn't help it. Like I couldn't help but to like get into like other people's fucking like field almost. I was like shit. Like I couldn't stop it. Like I was just so fucking like on this shit, but I was awake. Everybody else was like everybody else was like trying to sleep. I remember I was just like it's almost like I feel like they could sense my awareness. Like they could like sense like my energetic body, whatever you want to call it, like kind of astral traveling around. Like, cause like right now, like my mom's in the living room. I got my little brother in the other room. I can literally like do that same thing, and I actually understood a little bit about that before I was on this stuff. But yeah, I mean, and the reason I'm explaining that is because I think a lot of other drugs do the same thing. Like a lot of people who do DMT, I never tried DMT. That sounds a little extreme for me. Today, I'm not gonna do it. It's too extreme. I'll probably like make the whole universe malfunction or something. Nah, but um, the reason I explain that is because people like on DMT, they say they get like these revelations, and they're like, yeah, they say like the whole universe is like a big old processing playing with a bunch of different people's consciousness, like processing stuff. And they say like, and then a lot of people talk about ego death and how, we're all one and this and that, and we're all like connected. It's the same thing. It's like right now, sobriety, whatever, people are like in their own little zone. Like my mom's watching TV, my little brother's probably on the computer. I'm doing what I'm doing. When you're on certain substances, it like forces you. It almost just like dissolves those artificial boundaries of like here's my little bubble of mind, whatever you want to call it. When you're on some shit, you're just like you can't help it. You're just like going around kind of. So that's that. I guess I also understand stuff about what people might call spirituality. I understand like stuff, law of attraction, like I said, astral traveling, stuff like that. So I take that understanding and like I already kind of get that stuff. Like I said, I've been doing stuff since like drugs, experimenting since like 14. And I started learning about like this spiritual aspect of stuff when I was like 19, and exploring that a little bit. And this Delsum DXM thing was like 21, maybe 22. I don't know, somewhere around there. But I'd already kind of started to understand this astral travel stuff. And I remember Terrence McKenna, he said something like write notes and like write trip reports. And basically, this is almost what I'm doing. But no, when I was on that stuff, like all I had to do in the middle of the night was just like zone out, like almost like I said, I almost felt like I was like a weird like presence. Like I was like in this dark room, and my homies are sleeping, and I could tell like I don't even like say it like this, but I could tell they were kind of like half awake, half conscious. They shared a room, and I just crashed on the floor. But I could tell like they're like half awake, half conscious, and like they were, but they weren't, but they were. I mean, it's almost like it's just like if we wanted to, we were already like psychically linked like that. That's actually what happened to me the first time I took shrooms. It's a very psychic thing. Like I remember I was outside for a while. We were all outside for a while. Then a couple of friends went out. I was still hanging out in the backyard, and I came inside. As soon as I came in and walked into the room, it was just like psychic understanding. It was like it wasn't. I don't know. It's just like understood everything. It was just like the same brain waves were like synchronized. I have no idea, but it was just like understanding was there. It was like empathy, but just like pure. It was just like understood what everything is. Like I see what your thoughts are, what you're thinking, what your whole attitude, vibe, everything is. And that's how it was. First time I took shrooms. I remember even the next day when I went to school, and we had to go to the teaching theater to take to take one of these standardized like tests. And like we're in the teaching theater with a whole bunch of people, and I'm just sitting there like I got it. I was like it was the same mode. Like I just understood everything I was seeing. Like the vibe of everybody. It was almost just like implied. Like no communication was necessary. It was just like I understood like everything everybody was doing, like what their attitude, everything was. And it was weird, and I still finished that test. I actually finished it. There was one girl that finished it before me, and I was like, that son of a woman. Nah, she was a cute ass chick. She was like a cheerleader girl. She was actually like a grade below me, and she was just like extra smart. And I remember that, and I was like, damn, that was like cool. Yeah, I remember that. I remember her walk up like right before I finished, and it was weird because it was almost like an understanding type thing. I was like, okay, you're a smart girl. I see. Like it was just there. That understanding was there. I finished second, and they got like 100 on that shit. You know what I mean? I was still on that shit, but that was like 11th grade. That was shrooms. Shrooms were 11th grade. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It goes back to spiritual, energetic body type stuff. Like I said, like whenever I was on that DXM stuff, it was like I was in a room with my homies and they were trying to sleep, but I could tell they're like conscious. Like we're in a dark room and there was like no sign of life, like as if like they're like talking or anything. I guess I could sense it maybe because I could like just sense it. I don't know, but it's the same thing. Like, I could tell like they were like trying to sleep but still like awake. You know what I mean? It was like kind of weird. And I was trying not to be weird, but like I couldn't help but learn the shit. And that's when I busted out the notebook. I said I just gotta quit being weird. I said I'm just gonna bust out a notebook. I started writing notes like it was like pitch black basically, and like I was trying to write these notes just like by using like the freaking knowing what my hands doing. You know, I still got that notebook. It looks crazy. Um, Pretty funny. But yeah, I was definitely in this mode of like astral travel. I can still do it right now. It's like the middle of the night right now. It's Friday. I can literally kind of like just sense things around me. You know what I mean? Like I can, like I'm thinking right now, I can just do that. I could just it's not like a made up thing. It's not just like it's literally just being able to sense shit. And I think a lot of people who never been like forced into a thing like that and have experienced that's even a possibility. I don't know if they're like understanding that's even something you do. I think a lot of people are very, like I said, here's your bubble of consciousness. You know, I've already like been in crazy states of mind where I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal. You know, you just gotta. I mean, what I think drugs do is kind of open the door to that possibility and understanding of like a connected conscious field almost. And like I said, if you never tried drugs or anything, if you've never been forced in anything like that, you might be hesitant to like break down those barriers. And I don't know. I didn't think of it before. Like I said, I've been experimenting with drugs since like 14, and by the time I was like 19, I started learning about all this psychic stuff, whatever you want to call it, spiritual stuff, whatever. So I've been in really like I used to smoke a shitload of weed. Weed was like just every day. It's funny because everything we would try like other drugs, but like we would usually like drink and smoke with it, and like we didn't even consider that being a thing. We're just like that was just like base substance. Like anyway, we smoked and drank. Like we're just like normal. Like everything else beyond that was something. You know, I don't know. That's like how much we did shit like that. But yeah. Smoking a lot of weed. You smoke weed sometimes. You get in a state like that too. You get it'd be like it just depends. You know. Sometimes you're just high as fuck and you're like looking at your hands and shit. You're doing like weird shit. You know, just in your little zone. But usually if I smoke weed by myself, I get into that mode. I'm like, whoa, like I start like zoning out, like fucking, just like I get like this. I get into like this weird like I don't know like periphery sense. Like I'm just like I get really kind of like I could do it right now if I want to. Like I could literally like force it. I could just like stop. It's almost like I'm like a still presence, and the stillness is almost eerie, and it draws attention. It's like I can literally do it. You know what I mean? I think it's almost like I can literally like still the air almost. You know we're all biological entities. We all have energy, um, and we all have like a certain frequency, everything like that. We have energy and we have a heartbeat, and it literally like every time we have a magnetic field and everything. And so if you know, everybody's kind of just normally just doing what they're doing, going through their emotions or whatever. But if you like purposely like, it's almost like it's just all going and nobody pays attention. But if there's an obvious like conscious what do you want to call it? Conscious purposeful like presence, like you'll see it. It's like if you could tell that it's like it's different than just everybody just doing their thing. It's almost just like you'll sense like a weird stillness. You'll be like, what is that? Like you could tell it's like somebody becoming aware of their own faculties of I guess your energy body. See that's the thing, like I'm fully aware of all this stuff, but I'm just so used to like blending in, you know what I'm saying? I know how to like not disturb what's going on. Like I understand all these concepts, but I still like I can you know do all this stuff with awareness, whatever. Um, but I don't usually like be weird because I'm trying to be a functional adult, a functional human. I mean, it's not that weird to be honest. Like once you understand it, it's just like it's almost like second nature. You just understand you have an energy body, and you understand like so does everybody else. You understand that psychic communication is possible. You understand how we are all connected. We understand that we all do have energy. We can send good vibes and stuff. That's a real thing. Like you can remotely like view things. You can like it's all part of this like field, this universe. It's the ether. That's what I call it. That's like what Nikola Tesla used to call it. That's where I got that term from. But it's what it is, man. We all got energy about us, and it's like an energy body. And basically, what I'm trying to say with this whole thing is like what I learned from drugs, especially hallucinogenics, like is breaking down that field. See, cause your brain, I don't know, your mind, your body, you have like self control. When you take drugs, it just causes your shit to just fucking do something different, and then you're like, and then you're in this mode like while your brain's trying to like fucking reconfigure, and you're just like, whoa, like I didn't even know I could do that because it fucking breaks down the normal fucking like self control function. You're just like, whoa, you start tripping, but usually you keep like some level of that in it. Man, my foot's tingly. I just watching a Joe. Why I'm actually talking about this, I watched a Joe Rogan podcast with a guy named Paul Stamets, and he's like a mycologist, mushrooms, and he was talking about one of these trips that he was on. I mean, he was just talking about mushroom stuff. I listened because I've tried the mushrooms. I know how they work. I know they're pretty spectacular in some cases. Mushrooms are probably my favorite, like feeling, like well maybe I don't know if it's my favorite, but they're cool. I get very like empathetic on them. I gotta stretch my leg out. Hold up. Oh, tingle foot. Sorry, I got mud on my shoes just because I walk outside all the time. Sorry, carpet. Sorry, but anyway, Paul Stamets was doing the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about one of his trips, and on this trip, it was I don't even think it was psilocybin. I think it was a different type of mushroom, and they tried it, and he said he started getting this like repetitive behavior syndrome. He's talking about like he was like holding onto a camera, he dropped it, and they said, "Did I drop my camera?" He picked it up, dropped it. They said, "I dropped my camera." He said some shit like that, and he was talking about the shit, how the shroom was just crazy. And he said he actually he got to like back to his cabin or something, and like literally like fucking like he did what some people call falling out, and he basically just like started convulsing, having seizures basically. And but he said he remembers it, and he said he remembers it was like a good thing. And what I think that was like his brain just like going so off track, and just like almost just like collapsing the fucking like computing fucking mechanism of it, and then like having to like reboot almost. And that's almost how he described it. He was like, yeah, it felt good. It felt like I was getting like back to conscious or something. Or something like that. You can go watch this Joe Rogan podcast. It just came out like 2 days ago, November 2019. But yeah, that's kind of like my theory. Just I mean, I don't even know if it's a theory. It's just we know drugs do shit to the brain. Like that's what it does, and it's kind of like I think it breaks down some of the normal like the control functions that people have, especially when they're careful. Like oh, I don't want to. I don't know. People are very like well mannered and careful how they do shit like that. You're on certain drugs, you're just like you can't help it. I remember on the DXM stuff, my neighbor's mom. I think it was actually his mom's girlfriend. They were like lesbians or something, but she was like a hippie chick. She came out, she started talking to me about all this stuff, and she was like being cool. But I was just like so fucking zoned out off this shit. I was like, I could not even like follow the conversation. I was kind of just like blankly staring at her, and she's like, all talking to me. I'm like, okay. Like I had no fuck. I couldn't even respond. I could barely conjure a sentence. That was really interesting. Like right now, see, I think a lot of people whenever they get a sense of this psychic stuff, like I said, I think they think it's like rude to like be too like I think you can do all that stuff right now. You just kind of like being like a astral. You can just be sensitive and aware of what's going on around you. It's just you can do that. I think it weirds a lot of people out because they have these control mechanisms. I think I actually went through levels of that. I think at some point I remember when I was about 19, actually right before I started learning about a lot of this stuff, spirituality and stuff. I remember I was smoking weed. I remember we had this giant bong. It was like a fucking 5 foot fucking bong. It was 4 foot, I think, actually. And we called it Shack. It was a big old giant bong, and we would marshmallow that thing, clear it. We just try to like be. We just that's what we did. And I remember I did that this one time, and you know people probably have had anxiety when smoking and shit before. Um, I had little like minor shit, but this one was like, oh my god, I felt like my lungs were fucking like, fucking fuck that shit up. And I remember I was just like, oh, I felt very like I was like my heart was beating fast. I was like, fuck. So basically like a panic attack. And I remember that shit, and I was like, oh, and I remember I was just like looking ridiculous because my friends were sitting there, they were all high as fuck too, and I was just like sitting there like all like self conscious, like oh no, you know what I mean? And then eventually it got so fucking fucked up. I was like asking if I could lay down. I laid down and covered up on a blanket. I was just kind of like laying there, like almost trying to go to sleep and shit. And I remember I was sitting there and like I saw my heart beating like so fucking hot. Like I was literally like had a fucking blanket over me. And like I'm sitting there watching my heart just like I was like, holy shit, this is extreme. And I'm all like fucked up, like almost in like a panic attack mode. And that's why I said, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. Like I was just like looking, I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like I'm sitting here like fucking being a little bitch basically. And I remember I was like, I need to fucking fix this. However the fuck I did it, however the fuck I said it, but I was like, I need to fix this. And I I basically just said fuck this shit, and like I said, what's going on with my body, what's going on with me, and I just like started like becoming like very self-conscious, like actively like controlling processes of my own body. And it worked. I snapped right the fuck out of all the fucking weird anxiety I was fucking having. And actually that point on, I've never had an anxiety attack since. I think it's the same thing, kind of like the fucking drugs like make your brain kind of like do something different. It's almost like it was like I was losing control, and then I had to fucking like do the opposite, like take fucking control of my fucking. I was literally like, I thought my lungs were off. I was like, oh my god, like what's going on? But then I was like, this is. But I was more. It was almost like more fearful. I was like, oh my gosh, like it was almost like I didn't want to like pay attention. It was almost like, oh my god, I'm like feeling funny, like. And then I said, this is ridiculous. I said, okay. That's when I like looked inward to like see what's going on with my body. That actually led me to a theory about anxiety. I think anxiety is literally like when you are kind of ignoring a problem, but you like your subconscious knows it's danger. Like if like you're just like if something behind you making noise and you just try to ignore it, it's like your fucking deep down sense is gonna tell you there's something behind you, it's dangerous, and that's anxiety. You're like, oh my god. So if your body's tripping out, and you're trying to ignore it, and that's kind of what I think I was doing. That's why I was just getting like so like panic. I was like, oh my god, just calm down, like just trying to hope it went away, but it wasn't, and I was like, this is bullshit. So I had to like address it. So if I heard something behind me, address it. You know, if I just try to ignore it, it's gonna cause anxiety. It's like your senses are telling you you need to pay attention to whatever it is that's causing you anxiety. And so that's what I did there. Haven't had a fucking panic attack since. Honestly, that led to a lot of, I guess, self development. Because I realized I can like control my fucking processes. I never like went inward like that. I was more just like always just thinking. I don't know. I was just like an outward guy. I was just extrovert. I was always athletic and stuff, but I never realized I could like control my body process. I was like, wow, I can control my organisms. This is cool. And it led to like a whole different level. I realized, and then I went from that to being mindful. I realized like, hey, I can control my own thoughts. I could like, I remember It was actually after that I was like, I was trying to figure out why my freaking thoughts went so crazy. Like, why I went into such panic mode. And I was like, and I remembered I traced my own thoughts. I was like, it's because I thought this and this. And then I was like, all I had to do was not go down that road of thinking. And then I remember I was like, just make sure I don't do that again. And so I became like mindful of my own thoughts. And I was like, hey, I could just not think about that. I could just and I started realizing like every so often, like there'd be like random thoughts that would come in my brain, almost like random fears. And I'd just be like, I learned to like address them. I'd be like, that's not even relevant. I learned to like every time some random thought came in like that, I'd be like, I would question if it was even useful. Like, why is that thought coming? Like, where? Like, because my brain, I don't know. I was just on this automatic mode, I guess, before that. But yeah, I became mindful, and then eventually I started learning about. So I became mindful of my body, then mindful of my own thoughts, and then I became mindful of my own energy and how it was affecting people and things around me. That's when I started learning about spirituality type stuff, and so I was about 19. All that was about like 17, 18 at the end of high school. I remember I actually had like acne in 11th grade, and I think even a little bit in 12th grade. But then as soon as I got as soon as I got out of high school, for one, maybe that was a big cause of my anxiety a little bit. But also right after that thing where I said I like control my own faculties, I control my own faculties, and sure enough, I can control my skin. Keeping the acne away. I got pictures, dude. And I was acne, like it was breaking out on my face. Um, and as soon as I control my own faculties, I started controlling my whole organism. And it's very simple stuff, and it's really simple. I guess that was just like I don't know if that was caused by drugs or if that was just, or if that's a normal thing for people and drugs fucked up that natural maturation of my, you know what I mean? Like maybe I would have reached that shit naturally sooner if I wasn't fucking smoking weed all the time and shit. I don't know. I have no idea, but either way, we hit that point, and now I know I'm at a point of understanding energy. I understand my energy body, all these other processes and shit. I understand a lot of things like that. I don't know. I guess drugs might have played a part. I have no fucking idea, but yeah. So eventually, I learned about all that shit, and like I said, if you do psychedelic shit, and see that's the thing. I don't even feel like I need to do that anymore. I feel like I've done it enough times. I already know what it does, and it's like all it does is like force your brain into a mode where you're willing to break down these barriers. I don't need that. I could just literally right now, if I want to. If I want to, I can do that. I can go into. I can literally. I'm literally. Like I can if I want to. I want to say right now, like almost like can't do them both at the same time, but I can kind of just like sense what's going on around me. Like I can sense what's happening a couple miles away if I want to. It's I don't know. I don't know if people believe that. I mean, it's kind of like Native Americans used to say. They used to say like you can communicate with Mother Earth, and like basically what they're saying is like not talking. They're talking about like a spiritual connection with Mother Earth. That they say like listen to the. You say like animals spoke to them. They say stuff like the wind or something. It's the same stuff. You're just feeling out the vibes of what's going on, and they probably, boy, those freaking Native Americans probably are eating some mushrooms, bro. I don't know, but it's the same thing. Like when I said I was on some shrooms, I get very empathetic. I remember one time I ate just one cap because we couldn't find much. I ate one cap because that's all we found. I said I'm gonna eat it, and I ate it. Stayed up the rest of the night. Woke up I didn't wake up. I freaking stayed up till the morning. These birds started waking up, started tweeting and stuff, and I remember I was just sitting there like I totally understood like it's not really like what they were saying, it was more like what they were expressing. It was kind of like I don't know. It's not like they're saying something. It's not like they have verbalized communication. No, they're like expressing, kind of like we sing. If we hum a tune, it's a mood. You know what I mean? I understood those moods that these birds were putting out, and that's a type of communication. It's expressing. It's a way to express oneself, and shrooms definitely put me on that mode. That's what shrooms do to me. Psilocybin, it puts me on that mode. Like I totally understand. Like I said, attitudes, everything. And I still understand that. Like, a lot of people, they talk about being empaths and stuff. I guess, I mean, I'm that. I don't even think of that like a thing, you know? I think every organism has that. I think what it is with humans is we have so much extra shit. It clouds that. I think people will use words too much. If you just shut, like, some people are afraid of silence. Like, if you just sit here with somebody sometimes, like, sometimes they're afraid of just silence. It weirds them out. They're like, why aren't you talking? I don't need to talk. Like, do you have to talk? Like, if you have, like, a cat just hanging out, you know, you and the cat are just cool. You might talk just for fun, but you know, you don't need verbalization. You don't need articulation. You can just vibe. You know what I'm saying? And that's a type of communication. The attitude is apparent. You know, and I think a lot of times people, they have all these layers of extra, and then like people get weirded out by silence. I could just chill. I love chilling. I love being quiet. As much as I'm talking right now, I love being quiet and just chilling. Sometimes I just want to chill. I don't want to listen. I don't want to talk. We don't need to. We're just cool. It's all good. Wherever you might be, you could just be chilling. Like, you don't need verbalization. And that in itself, I mean, I don't know if drugs played a part in making me. I don't know. I definitely went through some certain stuff. Like I said, like with the panic attack thing that taught me how to like control my body and everything. I guess that was drugs that did something like that. Forced me to like address it. You know, kind of take the wheel of my own fucking situation here. Because before that, I remember. I mean, I was just a kid, like a naive. Like, I didn't think about my body. I just thought about doing stuff. Like, you know, like I wasn't like super conscious of my body. I wasn't super conscious of my thoughts. I wasn't. It was just kind of like almost like an automatic. I was conscious about like having fun and doing fun stuff. You know what I mean? That's like what the fuck I was when I was a kid. And yeah, I definitely went through, I guess, stages of like self discovery, and which eventually has allowed me to, you know, see, that's the thing. Like the mindfulness, like if you're mindful, you almost like can optimize your own thinking process and all type of shit. A lot of stuff I fucking talk about, like I've thought up and random shit, is because I can fucking think, you know, because I know how, because I know how to be. I'm all like, I have good self control. I can control my whole like situation. A lot of people still talk about having anxiety and stuff. I'm just like, bro, like it ain't even. You don't gotta be too serious. Like I don't know. I try to like make it obvious, like just chill. Like I don't know how else to do it. Some people just like some people are the type of people that cannot like just be quiet. They just can't do it. It weirds them out. You see what I'm saying? It wears them out because they're not in touch with that like deep self. You know what I'm saying? And I think drugs maybe played a part in helping me discover that. Maybe not. I don't really know. But boy, I remember actually before I learned all this stuff. Now I'm very sensitive to drugs. Now I take a little bit of stuff and it like knocks my whole, because I have such a self control, and it's like if I barely knock it off, it's like, oh, like you're fucking up my whole situation. Before that, I could take like fucking everything. I'll just be like, what's up? Like, it wouldn't be shit. Like literally, I could be on like fuck. Like I said, we'd be smoking, we'd be drinking, we'd put some other shit on top. I was like, what's up? Like, you know, it was just, that's how we did it. And it wasn't until I mean, like now, if I'm on any drug, that shit knocks off my whole fucking function. I'm a very like controlled thing now. You know, I don't want to fucking be on drugs. Um, that's real. That's real. I don't really do drugs anymore. I was thinking about microdosing because the dude Paul Stamets was talking about it. I think that'd be cool. I just don't like when it's like that overload, like override your whole situation. It's like, oh, like, you know, I don't need that in my life. I've already done that. I already know what it offers, and that's kind of what I'm trying to explain. What that has offered to me. Definitely breaks down like the mental, literally like a fucking mental barrier, like fucking an energy. Because that's the thing. You can literally astral travel. You can literally become aware, like. You can almost be like Casper the Ghost flying around in your energy body, and like fucking, it's really just like consciousness. Like you can be aware, and like that awareness, like right now my mom's in the other room, I can like become aware. I can like tap into her like conscious field. I can tap into my little brother's field. I can tap into the upstairs neighbor's field if I wanted to. I could tap into the whole field of this whole place right now, the whole universe. I'm telling you, because you can, because that's a real thing. And there is a collective mind. There is a collective consciousness, and it is what it is, man. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I haven't really talked about this. You know why I haven't talked about it? I think a lot of people think drugs are just, oh, drugs are bad. A lot of these silly people, boy, drugs are interesting. Like, drugs are an interesting experience. Depending on what you're doing, you know, you just drink and be like, dude, I'm taking so many different stuff. But yeah, definitely the psychedelic drugs definitely have an interesting effect. Even weed these days, like I said, weed these days is some crazy to me. Last time I smoked, I was like, whoa, like, I had to go walk outside and freaking in the woods. Like, I just had to get some fresh air. But I don't even like that no more. I don't like it to like override my whole function. You know what I mean? There goes the train, like the train. Like, I could be like, come aware of like that. You know what I mean? I can like literally like, I don't know. Your energy field is a thing. It's like your, I guess whatever your, it's almost like a projection of your mind or something like that. It's like your energy field. It really is. It's like a projection, like kind of. It's not just. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, it's definitely like you can become aware of stuff and astral travel, whatever you want to do. And I think certain psychedelics definitely break down barriers. They fucking like make your brain just fucking start. It breaks down the control mechanism, computation part of your brain, and your brain just starts like firing different, and it's I think it's like as it's trying to like readjust and like like stabilize, like you're just in this other realm of just like random shit fucking like firing, but you're still like conscious. It's just like it's just fucking firing a different way, so you're just like you don't have that control factor that has this like clear controlled fucking thing going on, you know. And it's just like as it's broken down, you're just like those barriers are broken, and you can be like, hey, I see, I am empathetic, I do this, like, you know, fucking colors, whatever the fuck it is, geometrical fractal patterns, whatever the fuck. See, I've never seen nothing like that. I've never been like deep hallucination. Like the closest thing I've had is like unable to like see. Like it took me a minute to like decipher what I was seeing. I was like, what is that? Like I remember I was on the beach. I was on acid. I went to the freaking beach party, friend's birthday party, and got some acid. Got from an undisclosed source, but gave a hit to my friend. I had a hit, and in the car we're driving. Eventually we get to the beach, and I'm like, is it working? Like I don't know. And me and my friend were not sure, but then I go out to the beach, and like we go out to the beach, like run out there. It's nighttime, and there's this rock on the beach, and I'm like, we're like running out there. We're kind of going kind of fast. I guess I was running, being silly. And I was like, is that a duck? Like I was so serious, bro. I was so serious. I was like, is that a fucking duck? And they're like, bro, you are like. That's when they knew I was tripping. They were like, they just started laughing at me. I was like, I really thought that bitch was a duck, dude. It was a fucking rock. I was like, whatever. But that was the closest to like, I don't know, anything like that is probably the closest to like hallucination. I remember that night though, the moon kind of had like a rainbow come off of it, so that was kind of colors a little bit. But that shit was dope. Being in the ocean, fucking tripping on acid. Hell yeah, that shit was dope. That was a fucking night right there. I ended up too crazy. There's a lot of crazy aspects of these stories, to be honest. I'm not even mentioning. It was fun. It was fun going crazy like that when I was younger. I just don't feel too much of a need for that anymore. I did plenty of that, man. That night, I think I ended up on top of the third story of a beach house on the roof. It was fucking high because it was already on stilts and it was like 3 stories. I was on the very fucking top. I don't even know how I got up there. I was watching like a storm come in over the ocean, like coming in. Shit was dope. I know earlier that night, I had been skinny dipping. I had like gone out by myself, and I was just, I don't know, I felt the need to be free, and so I just freaking took off my clothes and was in the ocean for a little while. I don't know if I was naked on top of that roof. I don't remember actually, but yeah, I was on. I remember that shit though. That was a crazy night. And that's, see, I was drinking at the same time, so it's not like I don't know. It's just, those are like party nights. It wasn't even like I was doing that stuff like let's see what we're gonna discover while I'm on this shit. And I was like, let's just fucking party, bro. Like, yeah, let's do it. So that's my lifestyle. That was my lifestyle for a while. And I kind of got a little bit more mature. A lot of stuff happened in my life. A couple friends passed away. I kind of started getting a little bit more serious with my life, trying to be a little bit more careful about stuff. Don't get me wrong, we had plenty of good times, and I do like cool, fun stuff we did, and I enjoyed that, and I respect that. And honestly, I think those were some of the best times we had on some drugs, you know, just partying, being fun. So I don't like regret it. I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it was actually more of like I think it was almost like I don't know, if you're on drugs together with somebody, you kind of like get to know them pretty well. Like, you get to know each other. Like, it like dissolves those extra layers, and you're just like together. Like, it's like, you fucked up, yeah, I'm fucked up, me too. Like, right on, high five. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's been plenty of times like I go to party with like a group of friends, and like we wouldn't barely know anybody, but we'd all be on like the same thing. We're like on the same level. That's what we said. You on the, you turned up? Like, yeah, I'm turned up. Like, got you. You know, we'd be like able to like go confide in each other and stuff, and like, just be able to like see it. Like, everybody else be on their own shit, but we still be like, I see you. You know what I mean? Like, we're all good. You know. It was good times. Good times. All that stuff was good times, and I actually suggest. I don't like saying this because I don't know. I suggest. Am I allowed to say this? Am I allowed to suggest doing drugs? Experimenting with drugs? I just say experiment. I'm not gonna suggest it because that's not a legal, I guess. But I tried it, and if I was gonna do it again, what would I do? I'd probably do like small doses and like test it out, and like just like, kind of like dip your toes in the water a little bit, and then kind of feel it out. Okay, it's not that bad, and go a little bit deeper next time. Okay, it's not that bad. Maybe eventually you'll jump in, and take a ride, whatever it is. But if you, I think what most people are gonna figure out on this stuff, like if you're gonna learn anything from it, it's gonna be the same stuff I just said, that we're all connected. There is an energy body of there's a collective field of energy that we're all part of, and that's all real. I think a lot of people have trouble seeing that, sober minds, whatever, because they have this control mechanism that like literally they don't want to break. It's like they think it's rude to stare too long or something, and they have these things that they're just like conditioned to not break. And I think drugs will fucking, you don't even think about that. It's impossible. It's like you just shatter it. You just go right through that window, and you'll probably break into like a collective energy field and be like astral traveling, like I said, stuff like that. Especially if you take like a lot of something. Like a lot of people talk about the DMT. I have not tried that, but I see what they're saying, and it sounds like it just literally just puts your brain on like a fucking crazy, fucking make stuff fire in a certain way. Hey, just so y'all know, that's not a devil signal. I'm not a devil worshiper. I know somebody's gonna say that because I just did that. I know how Illuminati kids think these days. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a devil worshiper, believe me. I hope that was not a subconscious thing, me doing a hand signal. I was talking about DMT and talking about some people. You know what some people say? They say when you're on DMT, you see like aliens. That's what they say. They say they see like gray aliens. and they say like they're like in that. Some people say like they see gnomes and stuff. I don't know about that, but some people say they see gray aliens, and other people say that the gray aliens are actually demons. Think about that. You know, I don't want to really get totally sidetracked with that stuff, but some people talk about stuff like that, alien stuff, and I'm gonna be realistic. You know, it's a possibility that there's aliens. It's probably a very likely thing considering how big the universe is, and a lot of people have talked about this stuff. A lot of people say government's already been talking to aliens, like for real. And a lot of people say that the gray aliens in particular are psychic. If you go look that stuff up, look it up on the internet. You got I know I'll get way off track, but this is relevant. I think a lot of people talk about little gray aliens, and they say they communicate telepathically with your own voice, like in your head, in your own voice. And if that's the case, you know, that's just like an evolved ability almost. You know what I mean? And all this stuff I'm talking about was like breaking through this like window, this barrier. It's like a step in that direction, you know, being aware of this field and how to like tap into it and use it and stuff. It's I think I remember I was on that DXM stuff and I literally felt like we're in the Flintstones, dude. I was like, this is the Flintstones. We are sitting in huts. We got prehistoric birds flying around. Like we are like stuck on the ground. We're in these little huts. We can't even like go anywhere. We're stuck on this in these little huts, and I remember there's all these trees, and we're sitting on like rock, and I was like, we're like in these fucking huts, bro. Like we're not going anywhere. Like this is our lives. We're little fucking. I didn't say we're monkeys. I felt more like Flintstones. Like just I felt like we're like I don't know how to describe it. Just like we're in fucking huts. Remember I saw birds flying around. I'm like, that's a fucking dinosaur. That's a fucking flying dinosaur. And all these big ass trees, and the trees even seemed like they're like ancient. And I was just like, here we are. We're just like stuck on like this fucking planet. Like it wasn't just like, I don't know. It just felt like I was fucking living in prehistoric times. And like we think we're all sophisticated. I'm like, we're in a fucking hut. We're sitting on rock. Like we're the fucking Flintstones right now. Like we're not doing anything sophisticated. I remember just fucking sitting there. We think we're just sitting there. We weren't doing shit. We weren't. It's like we're not like flying around. Like those birds are more kick ass than we are. They're flying, and we're just sitting there like stuck on the ground, like in our little huts, thinking so fucking highly of ourselves. You know what I mean? I was like, we ain't doing shit. We're just sitting there, fucking in some huts. So yeah, back on track. You know, aliens, maybe doing psychic stuff. You know, all this stuff I'm talking about, and that's why I think people have I don't know. People can take what they want from drugs, dude. Like, do what you want to do. Like, I don't even care. Like, I already know what I learned from that shit, so it is what it is. I think, if anything, people gonna learn the same shit, and because I've done a lot of drugs. I've done a lot. I've tried a lot. I have tried a lot of drugs. I'm not gonna lie, multiple times over, and I just don't feel a need for it anymore. I'm just like, I already know what that does. I don't feel like just because I used to do it just to party because it was fun. Hey, yeah, let's be on some shit and go to this party. Yeah, what's up? Have fun time. It's just fucking fun to do. I don't know, but I don't even party like that anymore, and so I don't feel the need to do that. I don't want to just like send my brain off into like some crazy shit. I'm always like thinking now. I'm always like coming up with ideas and stuff. And you know, it's funny. It was actually Terrence McKenna who said like write trip reports, like write what you learn. I actually started writing stuff after that. Like that was that same trip off of that DXM when I felt like we're the Flintstones. I started writing stuff. I got that notebook, like I said, it looked scribbly and crazy. I started writing stuff, and then I started recording videos. Now I've been recording videos. I've been recording a whole bunch of stuff. So that was Terrence McKenna talking about that. I used to watch Terrence McKenna back in the day, and I remember I knew Joe Rogan back in like '05. He was talking about DMT. I remember me and my friend Neil, we were watching at his house, and he was talking about isolation tanks and DMT, and we're like, dude, that sounds cool. That's back when we were like in high school. We're like, that sounds awesome, because we had already like tried mushrooms and stuff, and that was way before Joe Rogan became like super famous for his podcast, and now here we are. Came full circle. Years later, he's still doing the same thing. I don't know if he was doing a podcast back then, but he was talking about that. I remember I was in high school. I think it was like '05 or something like that. That was 14 years ago. Here he is still doing the same thing. It's like, yeah, man. He's talking Paul Stamets, the mycologist genie. You know what I mean? The master of the mushroom. He looks like a cool guy. I'd like to meet that guy and hang out with him, learn what he knows, what he's learned from the mysterious mushroom. See, I think what I have that's different than a lot of people. I think I could even look at Paul Stamets, and I understand the spiritual aspect of everything. Like, I understand this. Like, I went through those, like, levels of self, really, like, learn my body, then I mind control, then fucking, like, I understand what my spiritual body is. I understand what these mechanisms of myself are. And so when I'm on drugs and I see what those drugs do to me, I'm like, oh, they're just changing this mechanism. Like, I think that's what I understand that a lot of people might not. I think a lot of people take drugs and they're just like, oh, I'm in this other world. It's like, are you, or is your like conscious field just changed and like, breaking through barriers, whatever. And I think I just understand those faculties pretty well, so I can kind of, I don't know, I can tell how it's affecting those. You know what I mean? I think some people ain't even conscious of the fact that they have an energy body or, stuff like that. And so they're just on this shit and they're just like, oh, I'm just like in this different world, this different zone. I'm not at all saying that's what Paul Stamets is doing. Paul Stamets seems like a very intelligent dude. He's like a dude I would like study under, like for real. Like I'd be like his pupil if he let me. No, he's a smart guy. I like nature and biology and stuff. See, it's kind of like what he did. It seemed like he was talking. He said he's like an old hippie type dude and whatever, or something like that. And sure enough, now he's like a freaking world-renowned freaking mycologist. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. I used to be kind of just party fun. Now I'm like more into like science and all types of stuff like that. But yeah, I think what I was saying is that I think I can offer a perspective from somebody that already understands these like spiritual faculties, you might say, and understand what's going on like in that respect, you might say. And I'm not sure that too many people who understand that stuff are also experimenting with drugs. I think some of the people experimenting with drugs are kind of breaking through to the other side. Recognize. What's up, Jim Morrison? I think they're breaking on through to the other side, but they don't quite understand what all that means. What's going on with that? I'm trying to explain. You have an energy body. There's a field, and we usually keep ourselves very isolated in our own little like zone of this field. But when you're on some shit, you don't have that control. You're not like doing that anymore. It's just like that's breaking on through to the other side right there, and you fucking are just. I guess it's your third eye too. People talk about that shit. It just fucking like opens the fucking floodgates, and you're just like fucking that barrier is not there anymore. You can probably fucking go super hard on some drugs and probably open those floodgates like crazy, and it's just like that's when you get these fucking crazy visuals and shit. So that's the thing. I think I have a certain level of control where I just don't want that to happen. I think I could let that happen. I think I could probably take a big old what they call heroic doses or something, and it could probably like override my whole shit. I don't think I'd enjoy that. I think I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I would not enjoy that. I don't think. I was thinking about microdosing though, so I might do that pretty soon. Like I said, dip my toe in a little bit further. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's what I've learned, and that's what I can offer to this drug experience crescendo, whatever you want to call it. It's not even a big deal to me. I don't even think about that no more. I like studying science now. I like trying to figure out the freaking secrets of life and stuff, I'm into stuff like that. Like this stuff, psychics, it's like second nature. I'm like, whatever. I don't know. It's probably a big deal to some people, but I think people get it eventually. I think it's like I said, almost like an evolutionary thing. I think people are getting it more and more. I can see that happening like in real time, and I guess this is gonna help that a little bit. So we'll see. Um, that being said, I just hit an hour, so hope you enjoyed. A lot of people's trip reports are quick, but see, I was trying to give a whole philosophy that I learned from this. I put like 5 trip reports in one, and then some. So it's don't judge me for having an hour long video talking about this. Um, ain't no big deal, man. I see. I think there's so much hype around drugs. I think some people like, they think what they want to think. I'm not even gonna. You know what? I could be wrong. So go ahead and do what you do and take what you take from it. And you know, I could be wrong. So I'm not gonna say anything. But my hypothesis of it all is kind of what I said. All the stuff I kind of described a little bit. So yeah, man, I don't feel like I need to do that. I can tap into that field if I want to. I can break down I can, you know, do whatever I want to like that. I don't need drugs to like fucking, like force me into a different state of mind. I can astral travel. I can be aware. I can break those barriers myself. You know what I mean? I don't have to break them. I can just literally believe. I don't even know how to describe it. Just I can be in my little bubble, or I can be elsewhere. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a big deal, really. I think it's pretty basic stuff. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people get that right now, so I think it's worthy of explaining. I think in time, it's gonna be like, duh, like everybody's gonna understand this shit. Like they're gonna be like, wow, they're gonna watch this video and be like, what? There's a time when people didn't understand that. They'll be thinking like, how did people even function without understanding that? They're gonna be like, were they really just like, how could you even be in your own brain and thinking your brains just contain like, like they're gonna be watching this shit and thinking we're fucking totally stupid. They're gonna be thinking we were cavemen. Watch, they're gonna be like, for real. I'm telling you, I had that sense, bro. That shit was bizarre. I still get that sense sometimes. I'll be out in like the morning and I'm not on drugs. I'll be out in the morning, watch the sunrise, watch these birds start flying around. I'm like, this is an old ass planet. Like, it's an ancient fucking planet. An ancient freaking planet. It's a very epic feeling. I love science because we know that stuff now. We know how old this planet is. We know that birds are related to dinosaurs. We know like, we just know a lot, and just being like aware. I don't even know. It helps you appreciate what you're looking at. Like especially wake up in the morning, you look at like a sunrise. It's a giant star. And here's these giant ecosystem with flying dinosaurs and freaking trees that are hundreds of millions years old and hundreds of millions of years old. Biodiversity, here I am, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. That's why I like science now. And I think I learned what I needed to learn from drugs, and I think I moved on a little bit. Like I said, I might start microdosing now. I think it might be fun just to get back into that vibe a little bit. It was good times. It was really fun times, I'm not gonna lie. Those were exciting adventures in my life. Yeah, I dig that. I dig fun stuff. So, about that life. If I can get my hands on some psilocybin, maybe something like that, I might go ahead and microdose a little bit. Just take a little nibble. See how I feel in about an hour. I'm feeling good. I'll be like, all right, maybe another nibble. Who knows? I might just be constantly tripping for the next 3 years or something. I was playing. I ain't gonna do it like that, but I might just dabble in it a little bit. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. I'm out of here. Okay, I gotta cut y'all off because I'm feeding y'all the secrets of the universe right now, and I don't want you to become freaking ultra powerful or anything. Gotta slow you down before I wreck the servers. I don't even know what that means, but I know it makes sense somehow. So it is what it is. I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Be safe out there. Don't do drugs, kids. ever. Wink. No, really, I can't tell anybody to do drugs, so don't sue me if y'all do something crazy. I didn't tell y'all to do it, so it is what it is. With that being said, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Be safe, be smart, and yeah, really be safe though. Like, don't do some crazy shit. Like that guy, like Paul Stammer said, he had repetitive fucking movement syndrome. He just like dropping his camera over and over, like, and then he fucking had a seizure. Like, yeah, bro, be safe. Like I said, what I'm gonna do probably is dip in a little bit further. Okay, you know, slowly but surely test that stuff. That's what I would do if I was gonna do it again, and that's what I might do in the near future with some microdosing. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Be safe. I'm out.